Sergeant at Arms. Our invocation this morning is by Mandy Connolly.
As we gather here today as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. Amen.
Thank you, Mandy. And lead us in the pledge and the four-way test, Keith Veers. We're getting close to the bottom of the alphabet, so you people who have a name early in the alphabet, you're going to be called up pretty soon.
Thanks, Ron. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Keith. Last week, we started a thing from the past when we noticed everybody who had a birthday in January. And today we're going to do another thing that we used to do. We're going to sing. All of us are going to sing.
Okay, so it's been a long time, guys. So remember Dick Pearsall used to lead us all in song, and then I did for a little while. Then COVID hit and we stopped singing. So I have not sang since then, so bear with me. But if you would all join me in God Bless America, because it was Dick Pearsall's go-to song. So I'm thinking we should all sing that in honor of Dick. Everyone stand, please. We all sing better and louder when we stand. Okay. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside him and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you, guys. It was a great start.
Thank you, Chris. And now, our president-elect standing in for Father Joe, Terry Bortnick.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. Okay. So today we will be having our speaker. We have our service learning group is here today also. We will continue to oh, hold on 1 second. I'm new at this, so you gotta cut me some slack here. We'll continue to collect for the Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the remainder of the month. So this week and next week, I'll be gone next week, but I'll make arrangements to have anything picked up. We are collecting any kind of snack items, staple type items that they can keep there. AA batteries they always need for the games and things, and then paper towels, they prefer Bounty. So if anybody has anything, I'll take it with me today, and next week I'll make arrangements. We have a gala committee meeting after the meeting today. Next week we will be having Ken Fogel with Gift of Life for a little presentation after the meeting at the meeting out front. And then we will also have a beer garden committee meeting following Ken's presentation. Okay, am I forgetting anything? Mimi, Mimi has something she'd like to mention to the club.
I hate speaking with my back to the audience. This is an invitation from the League of Women Voters of Hudson. There will be a community roundtable on climate threats to Hudson. This discussion and process is being renewed after the COVID shutdowns. We began it in 2019. Some of you were involved then. But February 9th at 7 o'clock in the media center at the high school, and there will be people at the side door access to guide those of us who don't know how to get to any place in that beehive without getting lost. So it will, and what we're going to be doing is there will be a short slideshow review of the journey to date in terms of the issues that people have identified. And then there will be tables, each with a facilitator and a recorder. And people will be asked to identify what their concerns are, what their ideas are for addressing them in Hudson. This is on our way to developing a community-wide coalition that will put together a climate action plan for Hudson. That's the long-term goal. We are late in doing this. Many of the surrounding communities are, 10 years into this process, but Hudson has a need. We're inviting some of the students from service learning to participate, and Marty is going to help with that. So we hope to see you. Join your neighbors for a discussion, add your voice, bring your friends, and learn about what's in a climate action plan or what should be there in relation to Hudson specifically. Thanks.
Thank you,
If you have
Mimi.
questions, ask me, and I will put this back working.
Thank you for that also. Okay, now Marty.
Great. Good morning, Rotarians. Always love starting off that way. Lovely to see you on this beautiful January morning. Before we introduce our students today, just a couple of announcements from service learning. First off, thank you tremendously to all of you who attended either an RAK presentation or policy presentation or both. The students provide feedback on it, read through a number of their feedback sheets. And one of the things that pops up again and again is how valuable it was to have someone besides a peer or their teacher in there who had a different perspective that they brought in. It really made the experience a lot more authentic for them. So thank you all for donating your time. It's extremely kind of you. Things are always looking ahead. We're looking to start interviewing the class of 2024 soon. So I know some of you do have relatives, grandchildren, nephews, whatever it might be, nieces in the class of 2024, junior class of Hudson High School. So if they've been wondering about that, just remind them that applications due next Friday. So we're looking forward to that process. So I will get to our first student. Our first student here is Sam. I was going to tell you about his experiences here in service learning. Here you go, Sam. Knock out of the park. Figurative.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sam. I play football and baseball. I also like to hunt and fish. And my last site was Salvation Army Learning Zone down in Akron. It's a preschool for kids that live below the poverty line. And one thing that I kind of learned there was that even though we all may look, different, we all have one goal, and it's to learn every day. I would get there and the kids would be learning, whether that was numbers, letters, left and right. They just wanted to learn and they enjoyed it. And I think it was mainly because of the teacher. They have great staff there at the Salvation Army Learning Zone. and I had a lot of fun. I got to play with a lot of the kids. It was just fun kind of being around them. It was very loose and relaxing, and it was a good kind of break from my week. I go to school and it's a lot of work, work, work. And, on Wednesdays, I get to kind of take a break and, play with Legos or dinosaurs, something that I haven't done in 10 plus years. And next year I will be going to Roanoke College to play baseball down in Salem, Virginia. I'm very excited about that. And they have a program there called the fellowship program where you can sign up for different things. And one of I think they call them like the fellowship is a service fellowship. And, before this class, I didn't really consider that. I kind of just brushed it off to the side, like, oh, that's just like, helping out in the community. Like, I'll get that in eventually. But now this class has brought it to my attention that it's important and it can be a really good time. And I'm very excited to apply for it. Hopefully I get interviewed and I get in. But yeah, thank you for your time.
Good morning, everyone. I want to make sure that I reiterate what Marty said first. We do very much appreciate all the help that you guys gave during the RAKs, during the policy projects, and just your continued support throughout the year. Some of the stuff that we really couldn't do without you guys. So we really do appreciate it. And I have the honor of introducing Becca Stitzel, and she's going to tell you a little bit about what she's doing.
Hello, I'm Becca. I'm on the basketball team. I play point guard, and we also have a game tonight against Stowe. My first site, I was at food pantry, DLM food pantry in Akron. What I learned is that there's a lot more outside of Hudson. It was really nice to just be able to go off campus for for 2 days and just experience people outside of Hudson. Unfortunately, I didn't get to witness a lot of what my work did for the people I was serving, but I heard feedback from my site supervisors about how much my work did. This semester, I'm at the Hudson Middle School, which I'm enjoying a lot right now. And I don't know what I want to do yet or where I want to go, but one of my top choices is George Washington for international affairs or going into medicine and possibly becoming a military doctor. But I have enjoyed service learning a lot in class and at my site. And yeah, thank you.
Yes.
JV at 5:30 and varsity at 7.
That school to the south they're playing. So excellent. Thanks again, everyone. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. Jim is going to introduce our speaker for us today. Thank you. I hope you are.
Good morning. We have the pleasure of having Dr. Can't hear me? Okay. Probably this belongs up here. Yes. Pleasure of introducing Dr. Ashley Cooper. Little history on him. He's born in Southeast Ohio, grew up across the river in Northeast Kentucky. He graduated from Morehead State University, bachelor's degree in science, and then went on to get a doctorate in chiropractic medicine at Sherman College of Chiropractic in Spartanburg, South Carolina. He graduated cum laude. I'm sure there's other cum laudes in here, but not me. While in school, Dr. Cooper attended training added trainings in things you'll probably hear during his talk, but Diversified, Thompson, Gonstead, Cox, and Activator. These are all chiropractic techniques. He also enhanced his knowledge in pediatric and pregnancy adjustments. Additionally, his passion for sports and inevitable sports injuries led him to become certified in active and passive rehabilitation. Following graduation, he moved to Kentucky, where he practiced for the past 9 years and furthered his knowledge in scoliosis conditions, pelvic tilts, and marathon runner injuries. As they were expecting their first child in November 2020, and he told me now they're expecting another child, so congratulations. Where did I lose? I lost it. Oh, in November of 2020, they decided to move closer to where his wife's family is from in northeastern Ohio. So he has a practice in Twinsburg. Dr. Cooper believes in treating the whole body of all ages to further a patient's optimal potential. Through chiropractic care, active and passive rehabilitation, massage therapy, orthotics, and nutrition. His goal is in every patient to experience a healthy, pain-free lifestyle with increased range of motion, strength, and flexibility. Good things. He will today discuss common injuries of the spine, extremities that they treat in their office. It also includes some of the types of treatments and modalities, such as TENS machines, intersegmental traction, laser, beamer, KT taping, and muscle scraping. KT taping is all that white tape that the athletes have. I never figure out what that's for. So with that said, welcome Dr. Ashley Cooper.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I'm not used to having a mic, so if I get down here, just let me know to raise it again. So as he loads that, I'll discuss a little bit. I mean, Jim's taking care of obviously a lot of the stuff that I was going to say, but in the beginning, which is perfect. I don't have to do that now. This is my family. It's my wife, Kate. This is our son, Harrison. He was born in the middle of the pandemic. It was a really, really tough year on us. And I ended up selling a house, closing a business, starting another business, and renovating a house and moving all in 1 year, and had a kid. So 2020 kept us very, very busy. And like Jim said, we are expecting another kid, and it will be due in June 15th exactly. And so I'm going to tell you a couple things that will make you, I am from Kentucky and I am a Bengals fan. So go ahead and let it out. Now I will say this. I do support the Browns, I just don't support them when they play the Bengals. So now with that said, I'll follow up with something better. Our second son, we've been going through names, and I think we have fallen on the name of Hudson. So I don't, my wife loved it. I like it. So I think we're 99% sure that that's probably going to be our second son. It's the H's. So we had to stick with something in the H. So like I said, I had to follow up something better, you know, other than the Bengals. So if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide. All right. So in the top right corner, this is Dr. Shelby. I don't know if you guys have ever seen our practice. We're in Twinsburg off Darrell Road. We're in like the Giant Eagle Plaza, next to Mavis Winkle, Fast Signs, that area. But Dr. Shelby, she'd been there for a long time. And like Jim said, I practiced in Kentucky for 9 years. I've been up here since 2020. I started there November 2nd with her. It's funny, I didn't know Dr. Shelby at all. And once, you know, I had sat down and talked to her and met with her. We have a son that's born on the same day, and we live 2 streets over from each other. And so it was kind of really weird. And we're the same age. So everything kind of fit perfectly. We both believed in the same lifestyles, same type of practice techniques. And so it was a really good fit for me and the direction that I wanted to go from being in practice for so long. And she's been in practice the same amount of time. So if you guys, I just wanted to put a face. So in case, obviously she's masked up in that photo, we do mask if someone wants us to. So we respect that still. Other than that, we do not wear a mask in the office. So going to what is chiropractic? Has anyone ever seen a chiropractor, been to a chiropractor? Kind of, so 50% maybe, which is good. So you guys already know a little bit. There's different techniques, as Jim was saying. I do a lot of different techniques because everyone's body's different. So chiropractic, it literally means through the hands. We do everything adjusting through our hands. There are some techniques in which there's an activator used. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that before. An activator is an instrument in which you can control the depth of the adjustment, and it's just a one click on the joint that you're trying to manipulate. I only use that technique if I'm using like a 1 month, 2 month, 1 year old kid. That's when I'm going to use that technique, because I'm not going to adjust a 1 month old like I'm going to adjust someone that's 45 years old. You're just not going to do that. It's very subtle, easy adjustments on them. It's more of a tapping motion on those joints. So the babies, they don't get hurt. Some people are like, oh my gosh, you adjust babies. It's very, very easy on them, and it helps relax their nervous system, helps relax their muscles. And so that's one of the big things we do there. So like I said, everything through hands. I do everything manually manipulation. Okay. And we'll get into that and discuss it a little bit more as we go through. So next. All right. So chiropractic, it's a holistic approach. So we don't use medicine. I get this question every single week. I just got it 2 days ago. Can you prescribe me a painkiller, Flexerol, steroid? No, I cannot. I can write you a script for lab work. I can write you a script for x-ray, MRIs, ultrasound. I can do all that stuff, but we don't do anything on the pharmacy side. So that's kind of the holistic approach, where we use obviously our techniques, our hands, to manipulate the spine in order to give you the optimal health that you can have. So everything's driven through that nervous system. Your brain communicates to every cell in your body. And if you have interference, which we'll call subluxations, is pressure on a nerve that's creating less of that signal being sent to whatever cell in the body that's going to, we help facilitate the movement of that, take that pressure off. So now your brain can communicate to every cell in your body. So that's more of our approach to health. And then I just explained the nervous system, how it works there. And then obviously we also do exercise and nutrition. So with my chiropractic degree, as I was in school, I also did physical therapy. So I didn't do, if it's a 3-year, I didn't do the 3-year program of physical therapy. I took the PT classes in active and rehabilitation. And so at the end of those classes, I was able to go take physical therapy testing. So I tested out and got my certificate in that, so I could actually do this type of stuff in the office as well. Like Jim said on my bio, I'm a big sports guy. I love all sports. Me being from Kentucky, I'm a UK fan. I born and raised into it. I can't help it. But that's what drove me into this. There's different, you'll go to different offices, you'll see different techniques, people doing different things. They may do muscle testing, they may do this, but it was the sports injuries that really wanted to drive me in helping as much as I possibly can. Because it's not just kids that get it. We also work, people that are 45 and runners, or 45 and working out, 50 years old. So I get to work on all ages, doing this type of treatment. So, and then the nutritional, I'll talk a little bit more in detail here in a second about the nutrition. But there's a lot of things that the bodies lack, and we try to supplement that in when we see necessary. So next. Yeah. All right. So you can bring all those up if you want to. So what we do, when you come to our office, you're going to fill out, we use iPads or the touch pads, whatever you want to call them. We'll have you fill out all the paperwork on that. Okay. Once you're done with that, I'll review that myself, and then I'll bring you back to my office. We'll sit down one-on-one in a private room, and we will go over everything. So, why are you here today? Are you here for you want to see a chiropractor for maintenance care, or you got an injury to the shoulder or the lower back? So we'll discuss all that. And we'll kind of talk about goals, things that, I want to see. And then after that, we'll go out to the, we do everything open concept in our office. I don't know if you know what that means. Dr. Shelby's, we're all in one big room. She's adjusting next to me. I'm on this table. She's on that table. We're just, everything's out in the open. Some people don't like it. We do have a private room that we can bring you back to that. and do things if we need to. So we'll start the examination. I usually incorporate like range of motions. We'll go through all range of motions, whether, if you got a shoulder injury, we'll do that as well. And then we'll do exams where ortho testing, whatever I need to figure out what is going on and where I need to, do the right adjustments to get you feeling better. After the exam, we'll set you down on the table. We'll go through those adjustments. There's a lot of people that I see that's never been to a chiropractor, so I have to explain the techniques and how the table works. So they better understand that as well, because I don't want to catch them off guard, like, oh, what was that noise? So I'm very detailed, and I want you to feel comfortable, and I want you to know what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And so it's not, something like, oh, caught you off guard. So the manual therapy, some of the stuff that we do with that is, like he said, we have the gua sha technique. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of gua sha before. There's also Graston technique. Has anyone ever heard of Graston technique? So what these two manual therapies are, they're actual scraping of the muscles. So say someone's got an injury, tendonitis, something that's not going away. Now they've got adhesions into that tendon or into that muscle junction of the tendon. You're taking and you're putting a lotion or a cream on that, and you're taking a device and you're scraping that. Sounds awful. It can be sore, it can be tender, but when you have an injury, your muscle fibers, they all should line parallel. So when you contract that muscle, it contracts, okay? Sometimes when you get injured, you'll get cross-hatching of those muscle fibers, okay? And so that's what it'll do is it's trying to contract, it'll ball up and it'll cause a knot. I'm sure we've all had knots in our backs and our arms, legs. And so what I'll do is I'll scrape that to kind of break up that adhesion and that tension. And now give it a week or two and it'll start to heal and realign those muscle fibers parallel again. So we do a lot of that. You do bruise on that sometimes. So I always warn the patient, if you see bruising, that's normal. You can be sore for a couple of days, but after that, they start getting more range of motion, less pain into that area. So we don't always use that, but a lot of sports guys and girls, we do. So the rehabilitation part, I don't set down, like if you had knee surgery, I'm not going to bring you into my office and say, I'm going to do PT work. I'm going to spend an hour with you, because I want you to go to a physical therapist where they're going to be one-on-one with you and they're going to do all of the things that they need to do. I'm going to discuss, you come in with me and you've got a neck injury or a shoulder injury. What are some of the things that I can have you do at home? And I'll even give you paperwork to show you the exercises. I'll write them down, whatever helps you best. But I put that responsibility on the patient sometimes, and they do listen. But there's 3 to 4 times a week, there's stretches, there's exercises that you guys can do at home that's going to help as we do some of these manipulations as well. So that's where I'll kind of gear towards on the rehabilitation part. And if they're not doing it, then sometimes I'll pull them in the back. We do have a workout room in the back of our facility, and some machines and weights and mats, yoga balls, things like that we can go over a couple more exercises so they understand. Cold laser treatments. Has anyone ever had cold laser treatments before? Does anyone know what that is? Red light therapy. One person. So red light therapy, what it's using is on the wave leak, you've got color. So 400 to 700 nanometers is where you're going to see colors, red, blue, green, all that stuff. So around 640 nanometers is what the red light cold laser treatment is. And how is that beneficial? So when that red light penetrates into the cells of, let's say you have an injury to the ankle and you got a lot of swelling, bruising, things like that. That red light's going to penetrate into that cellular tissue, and it's going to increase oxygen production. It's going to increase energy, and it's going to bring blood into that. So what you're doing is your body can repair anything that happens, but the laser is going to speed up that process. So if I've got somebody that's, a senior in high school and they're playing soccer, or they're playing basketball, and they've got an injury and it's mid-season and they may be out 12 weeks, and well, that's going to end their season. And that's pretty rough on these kids. And I hate, when I have to tell a kid, like, you got to take 2 weeks off. You see the energy just deflate in their body. It's like, well, I don't want to. I'm like, well, okay, you're going to get injured again if you keep going. So this allows me to speed up that process and healing for these people, and get them back on the court quicker. It works very, very well. And a lot of people, even after the very first treatment, when they get up off the table, they notice a big difference in just the pain and the flexibility in that joint, or the tissue, whatever I'm working. So we use cold laser about every day. And I use it even on treatments. Like I had a last night carpal tunnel patient. I used it on carpal tunnel just to kind of take some of that pressure out of the wrist, get some of the the message being sent down that nerve into the hand because she has tingling, she has a lot of pain. It helps with that. It helps with flexibility of her wrist. So we use it on a lot of different things. A-line insoles, I've got a machine up here. I'll talk about that at the end. I'll bring a volunteer up, whoever wants to do that, doesn't matter. And I'll kind of show you how that works and why we use the A-lines. It's pretty neat. Nutrition, like I said, we do standard process. I don't know if you guys have ever heard standard process supplements. It's all natural stuff. A lot of people will come in and say, hey, I'm taking calcium, I'm taking magnesium, I'm taking this vitamin. I bought it at CVS, I bought it here. When you think of the stuff that's over the counter at your normal stores, I always tell patients, look at the back of it, read the label. What's the ingredients say? Most of the time, you don't know half of the things on it. That's usually your first mistake. If you don't know what it is, then it's probably not good for you. Now, here's the thing with those. You're still getting nutrients out of those, but they link that, say it's a vitamin B supplement. They link that vitamin B to something that's insoluble in your body that it can't process. So as you swallow that pill, it goes into your stomach. As it gets down into the small intestine, okay, that's where you're going to absorb most of that vitamin into your body where you need it. If it's linked to an insoluble compound, whatever it may be, your body can't absorb that. So a lot of times you may get 20% of that vitamin absorbed and the rest of it just keeps going right on through. And we either obviously dispose of it through pee, urine, or number two. So that's a big issue for me. So now when you get the supplements that are all natural supplements, you're going to probably 80% of that you're probably going to get, because now they're going to link it to something soluble that your body can absorb, release that compound, and you're going to get more of that happen in the small intestine. So, when you take a vitamin, a lot of people's like, I don't feel anything. You should get energy from it. You should feel something. So think about that whenever you're doing your supplements. And then the Beamer. Has anyone ever heard of Beamer before? The car, yes. So a little different. Cost is close, but not for the patient, for us to buy. But so the Beamer is PMF. It's basically what you're doing is it's like everything in your body has electricity. Okay. So when you lay on this thing, you just sit in a chair. It's a pad behind you. It's using magnetic electricity. Okay. And so it's speeding up and it's taking healthy muscle, healthy tissue, and it's pulling blood into that. And so a lot of times, like me and Dr. Shelby, if we have one of these days, like we're sitting in the office and we're just like, it's lunchtime, I'm exhausted, I'm drained, like I can't think. We'll sit on that and all of a sudden, boom, boost our energy. My acuity, like everything like is super focused. A lot of people will come in and we can do like, say you're having some intestinal gut problems as well. We have a strap you can put across that and it's going to help you get blood flow, kind of push things out, get some of the waste out of the blood vessels, out of the intestine. It's just going to help with that gut health. And a lot of times it'll help, if someone's constipated, things like that. So we'll use it for that. Cardiac health, it's good for that, getting blood flow into those tissues. So we'll see a lot of people. It's about 8 minutes on the treatment, is all it is. It's pretty simple. So we use that a lot as well. School and sports physicals. We do them, but we have cut back on them. The reason why is this whole COVID thing that started. We're seeing, the myocarditis, the blood clotting, the different factors that we're seeing in. And so when you think I've got to do a physical on somebody and they may be in my office and they may be completely normal. Now, I'm not saying that COVID's causing this stuff, but you'll read in the news, you'll read in articles that it's a possibility. So what I got to do is I do this physical. They've got normal lung, normal heart. Everything's fine. They go out and they play a sport and they fall over. We just saw it with DeMar Hamlin in the Bills-Bengals game. Now, that was obviously something a little different than him having blood clotting issues or something like that. So I'm signing my name on that. Well, then you have this kid, someone's coming after me. And it's like, well, you're not a cardiologist. Why'd you sign that? Well, you're right. But he was fine when he was in my office. So we still do some of them, but we're kind of cutting back on that because I would rather some of these kids going to their MD, DO, things like that to get these physicals, because I think they're going to be a little bit more detailed on them and maybe pick up things that I don't see in my office like they do every day. So we still do some of them. Like I said, we're just kind of cutting back on them. Next. And if I have a time issue, someone just hold their hand up and let me know. I'm supposed to finish by around 8:20, right? Okay. Common conditions that we treat in the office. Obviously, some of these are neck pain, back pain, mid-back. You guys know all that. Headaches. These are big ones that we treat. I'm just going to go over a couple of these that you guys may not know that we do treat. So one of the big ones that a lot of people don't know is like allergies and sinus. Okay. So, excuse me. And we have a lot of that in Northeast Ohio. And so with the sinus stuff, a lot of people, they're stuffy, runny noses, draining into the throat, their ears feel clogged. So what we do with that, there's a couple things. We can do some manual manipulation in through the mouth, into the jaw, into those sinus areas where we can take some of that pressure off. I also use the Activator, the instrument, and I'll do adjustments on the sinuses above the eyes and then below next to the nose, and then we can hold some pressure trigger points on that. The other thing I also see with the ear infections, I'll do adjustments on the ear. Sounds weird, but all I'm doing is I'm releasing the eustachian tube that drains the fluid that's getting backed up in the ear. So some people will actually, it's so bad that they'll feel it drain down their throat. So it just tries to help clear everything out. And then I can do some suboccipital tension release with the muscles in the back, the occiput, because there is a bone that goes from the back to the front. And when you manipulate that, it'll actually open those sinuses up as well. So that is one of the things we see a lot of. Scoliosis obviously is an easy one. Tennis elbow, we can do a lot of the different manual type treatments on that, the electrical stimulation stuff that we do. So those are things that can help with that. What was the other one? TMJ. Anybody ever have any TMJ issues? Anywhere, night guards, bite guards, anything like that at home? We see a ton of that. I can't tell you how many jaws I adjust every week. People are like, what? And some people will use an instrument on it. I don't like it. I have had a lot of success over my 11, 12 years of adjusting people with doing manual manipulations of the jaw. It sounds painful, sounds terrible, but it's not that bad. All I'm doing is as I'm watching that patient open and close their mouth, what's their chin doing? Is it deviating to one side or the other? And once I figure that out, then I can go in and manipulate that. So once we get the jaw back set, they open and close, all that pressure goes away, their jaw's dropping normal. And then we can give them some exercises and things to do at home. So it helps a ton. It also can help with ear pressure, neck pain, things like that. Those are all associated with each other. So that's a really big one that I see in the office that a lot of people don't know about. Breech babies. Breech babies, head up. So we got a woman that's getting ready to deliver. Let's say she's at 35, 36 weeks and we're still breeched. What we'll do is a technique called Webster technique. It's very simple. It's where we adjust the posterior sacrum. What's that mean? Sacrum, you got SI here, SI on the right. One of those sides is going to be rocked up. Okay. So we're going to adjust that where we're going to push that back down just a little bit. We flip the patient over, have them bend their knees. We go to the opposite side of where we adjusted and we hold pressure on the round ligament. And all it's doing is it's taking the tension off the round ligament to help expand where the baby's at so it has room to move. And then you can just do some pushing techniques on the baby where you're trying to just slowly spin. And so that helps. It's not 100%. I'm not going to guarantee that, but it helps probably, I would say 70, 80% of the cases. And so that's a big one that we see as well sometimes with pregnant. Let's see. The other ones are pretty normal for the most part. Go to the next slide, please. Stress. We all have it. We just got through the holidays. Anyone ever get stressed when they sit down with their families? Most people do. Go to the next slide, please. And so some of those stresses in our life obviously creates problems. And I'll discuss a few of those, but you have internal inflammation, dehydration of the muscles, poor nutrition, all of these things obviously are stresses on our body. So when you're looking at, say, a dehydrated muscle, dehydrated disc, the disc, you can have issues with the sciatic pain down your arm, numbness and tingling because you've got flattening that disc because there's not fluid in it anymore. It may be bulging out, herniated disc, things like that. You also, with the dehydration of the muscles, is when you take that fluid out of that muscle, it's going to dry up and it's going to tighten up. So it's going to pull on those joints. It pulls bones out of place basically. And so, and these will cause pressure on the nerves. This will cause pain. It's just one of those daily things that we all deal with. So it's hard. It's like, well, what can we do with stresses? Because we come face to face with them every single day. We also have external stuff. Your work, chemical exposures, weather. You see a lot of the weather changes up here. And so these are things, and obviously with the relationships in the family. Go to the next slide, please. And so how does your body respond to that stress? I kind of explained that just a little bit with, when you take and you dehydrate those muscles and they pull those joints out of place. Obviously the chemical part of it can change the structure of what that muscle's doing or what those joints, tendons are doing. Can you go to the next slide, please? And so ways to manage that: journaling. I know a lot of people probably think about it. They write diaries. Some people don't, but sometimes it's great to put your thoughts on paper. Get it out of your head and take that stress off of you and write it down somewhere, put it away. Developing healthy relationships. I mean, we all have good relationships and we have bad ones in our life. Sometimes they're not worth it. So you got to ask yourself that question, is it worth it? There are therapy sessions, obviously, that you can do. And then has anyone ever done acupuncture before? We have an acupuncturist in our office. He's actually wonderful. He's not associated with us directly. He just rents space from us. So, but he's so knowledgeable and smart. I always refer patients to him. And so, like I said, you would set your appointment up with him, and payment goes to him, and it has nothing to do with us. But he's great, and it helps us on some of these things. Like if I have a patient headaches are not going away, they're still holding trigger points. Why is it not going away? I'll send to them, and both of us, and the same thing, we have a massage therapist there as well, which is who I'm doing exercises with on the ball. She's associated with just herself as well. But we can kind of work together on some of these patients and get everything they need in one spot. So it works great. And then chiropractic care, obviously. So go to the next slide, please. Other ways to prevent: diet, supplementation. So one of the things with stress is the adrenals in our body. When you are at a high stress level and you're constantly stressed about something, your adrenals it's going to release cortisol. Anyone ever heard of cortisol before? Cortisol does a lot of bad things to our body. It's terrible. And so some of the supplements we do with standard process is we have Drenamine, which is for your adrenal function, and you're trying to decrease that production of cortisol. One of the big things a lot of people don't know about cortisol is it'll actually make you store fat cells and you can't release them. And when you go to the doctor and you get blood work, you're going to see, like me, for instance, I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm 38 years old, 39 in August, and I'm borderline high cholesterol. And the reason is you've got adrenal release of cortisol, and it's going to bring that cholesterol level up. I have another client the same way. Her husband, he's not doing well. She does a lot of stuff for him, dialysis, 3 times a week. She is so stressed all the time. And she's like, I've never had a cholesterol problem. And now she's got high cholesterol. And we've got her on stuff that's come down. She stays borderline. They keep wanting to put her on medicine and she don't want to. So we're keeping her at that, at bay as best we can with it, but it's because of the release of cortisol. So it's another thing, you can supplement and try to help some of that stuff. CBD products. I'm going to put a question mark to that. If you have a CDL, don't pay attention to that last statement. You can't take them. It doesn't matter if they don't have THC in them. You don't know what the company, they might sneak a tiny, tiny amount. If you have a trace amount and you go get a blood test, boom, you lost your CDLs. I learned that from the police officer and the bus drivers that I spoke to recently. But there are benefits from CBD products that you can take. There's oils, there's creams. We do a cream stick sometimes on someone that has like a really sore joint. So if you guys are okay using them, that is another supplement that you can do. Next, please. Other ways, diaphragmatic breathing. Does anyone know how to do diaphragmatic breathing? You're breathing through your nostrils in for 4 seconds, deep breath in. And then what you're going to do is you're going to slowly exhale through your mouth for about 6 seconds. And you're going to repeat that process for anywhere 5 to 15 minutes. It just really kind of helps slow down the heart rate, decrease some of the stress and the tension that you may be having at the time. Yoga is obviously a great exercise, running, other exercise things, anything you can do. I mean, even if it's 30 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, something to get the heart rate up a little bit obviously helps. And then meditation. Next, please. All right, good referrals for us. We all have spines. Obviously, I can treat anybody, but families, teachers, sports teams are a big one. Like I said, it's one of my passions is in the sports world with the injuries. So I see anywhere from Hudson, Streetsboro. I mean, I have Manaway, Nordonia schools, Twinsburg, all these schools, we see a lot of the student athletes. So those are always really good for referrals for us. Pediatrics, we adjust anybody that's 1 day old all the way up if you're still moving. So it's, like I said, very easy. And then any businesses, obviously, we can treat as well. Next, please. And that is it for me. Again, this is Dr. Shelby and myself. Is there any questions? And after a couple of questions, I am going to bring a volunteer really quick for this. I'll demonstrate. So
Just a quick question when you talk about referrals. I went to the Cleveland Clinic Spine Institute years ago.
Yep.
And I saw there were chiropractors on staff.
correct.
And so when and how often do you get referrals from physicians in the area that refer you for specific reasons? And what would be the primary ones?
Great question. So I'm going to address two parts to that question. The Cleveland Clinic first. The Cleveland Clinic has their own insurance. And I know this as well because my wife's a Cleveland Clinic nurse and we have it. If you have Cleveland Clinic insurance, they will not let us in network with them because they hired chiropractics for their facilities and they want you to see their chiropractors, which is fine. It is what it is. The problem, the issue I have with that is how, and I don't even blame this on the chiropractors. I blame it on probably how the Cleveland Clinic is orchestrating how they're treating. Like, these are the guidelines on what you're going to do. So a lot of times they're going, I have a patient, he just left there because he had a lot of back spasms, pain, and they did electrical stim. They did some KT taping on him and they weren't adjusting. And he kept going and going and going. And he's like, I'm not getting any better. So we brought him in and I saw him twice and he was probably 80% improved. And so there's a big issue I have with that. The second part of that question is we get a lot of referrals. I mean, there is just local physicians that will still send to us. We'll have some podiatrists. Dentists are a big one, believe it or not, because of the TMJ. They understand that we can help with that. And so we get a lot of referrals from TMJ. So yeah, but medical doctors, like I said, the ones that believe in the chiropractic part of it, they refer to us all the time.
Just have a quick question, Dr. Shelby. Point in my life, I really got hit with something called polymyalgia rheumatica. Have you run across that at all?
Say that one more time.
Polymyalgia rheumatica, PMR.
I've not came across that with a patient. No.
Okay.
And what symptoms were you having with that?
It's like fibromyalgia, except it's
correct.
It's all over. You're sore all over.
Correct.
To the point where you're basically crippled.
So I haven't had a patient I have a lot of fibromyalgia patients, but I haven't had it to the point where you're crippled and every single. Now, generally, like when you're talking fibromyalgia, when they do the testing, there's 18 trigger point spots, yes, and 11 out of the 18 is going to create positive for fibromyalgia. I'm
surprised you haven't heard of that because it really is a lot of people suffer from it. It really is.
I've heard of it, but I've never had a patient with that particular. Like I said, fibro I have, but they have a lot of joints that are sore, but not the entire body per se.
It travels. It's
correct. And you have your flare ups on it as well.
Someplace else. Yeah.
Correct.
It took me 15 years to get over it, but okay.
Oh, did you get over it?
Yeah, I got over it. Yeah,
oh, good. Yeah, I've never had the severity of that, but like I said, fibro I see probably, 10, 20 times a week. Very, very common.
Cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And with the fibro patients, you're just trying to maintain, take pressure off the joints and just help them feel better. So it's just maintenance adjusting. So.
Little comment and then a question. So in college, I rode and lifting weights, got a herniated disc, and got to say that all the doctors could do was either give these like horse tranquilizer type pills or else surgery, and went to see a chiropractor, and it was fantastic. So I'm definitely a believer. So about 100 years later, so two questions. One is I just had a total knee replacement. I do see therapy. They actually do that technique with the scraping.
Like the grass.
I'm just wondering if there's any specific things as a chiropractor you do to help that healing go along. And then the second one is, now that I'm old, does Medicare cover chiropractic?
Okay. So with the knee, did you have a total knee replacement?
Total knee.
Total knee. So the biggest thing there, obviously, maybe some flexibility in the knee you've lost. In your case, I'm not going to manipulate the knee because it doesn't matter. But yeah, so you can do the cold laser would be a good treatment for you. Just because of the soft tissue aspect, you're trying to kind of soften up the tissue a little bit. The Graston, obviously, or the gua sha, whatever they want to call it in their office. Any of like the scar tissue you may have in there from that to help breaking that up, obviously is going to give you a little bit more flexibility. And then Medicare, yes, does cover chiropractic. The only thing we don't take, like there's a couple insurances we don't take. We don't do like Care Source or Medicaid type patients. And then there may be one other one out there. I can't remember, but for the most part, I see a lot of Medicare patients. So yeah, it does cover. Any other questions? Yep.
It's interesting. I grew up in a family where my mother and father never went to a medical doctor, but they both went to chiropractors regularly. And it enabled my dad to play golf until his 80s.
Oh, wow.
But general question about lifting weights. I did this in high school. My grandson has just put on 30 pounds of size, muscle. Do you recommend weightlifting, or what cautions do you have?
Well, weightlifting, I mean, here's the problem. I'm one to tell someone that you can't do something. Because if I was to enable somebody from doing something, then we wouldn't have some of the athletes, if we were all like that. So weightlifting's fine, but when he's doing like deadlifting, squats, things like that, he needs to make sure that he's wearing proper bracing. Because I do see a lot of lower back injuries. I just had 2 college kids, baseball players, and they're doing squats and deadlifts, and both of them. One of them's got lower left SI lumbar pain. The other one's got right because they loaded too much weight. They did a wrong technique, but they didn't have any bracing on. So it's okay as long as you're doing, someone teaches you the proper technique in it. I mean, don't be too wide. Don't bring your legs out. Make sure you're staying square with the shoulders. So if you're doing it correctly, I don't have a problem with it, but you just got to make sure you're doing proper bracing to try to not harm yourself. And then, I mean, it gets a little, do I recommend these huge amounts of weights? No. Our body's not really geared towards that, but you're going to do it anyway. So it's like beating a dead horse sometimes with telling someone that. So any other questions? So real quick, if I just want to I want to go over this really quick. Can I have one volunteer? Anybody, doesn't matter. I promise that you don't have to talk or you don't have to do anything too crazy. So what we do is this is the A-line machine. If you don't care to take your shoes off, a lot of girls, if they don't have socks on, they're like, I didn't have a pedicure. So what we're doing with the A-lines, this is, I'm going to show you when she stands up on this machine, what we're looking at. So go ahead and put your heels against there. Watch your toes. And then your second toe is going to go through that light. And the second toe is going to go through that light. So some of you guys, she's got black pants, which is perfect. Some of you guys may be able to see the red light. So what we're looking at when she's just standing normal is we're seeing where the red light hits on her knee and then all the way up through the hip as well. Let me get in front of you real quick. And so on hers, if some of you guys can see from the back, we notice that we do have a red line that's pretty far out on the right side. And then look at her ankle. She's coming in close to that bar. So what we're seeing on her in this instance is she's having pronation of the right foot, just her normal stance. So she's not getting supported on the ankle on the inside part. So what this can lead to in a client is if you're rolling in, the knee's going to roll in. So maybe they have inside knee pain, maybe they have hip pain on the right side or lower back pain. So that's some of the things that I'll see with that patient. So now what I'm going to have you do is, let me see what size your P. Do you care to step down really quick? So the A lines, and then now you can step back up on those. And if you need to hold my hand so you balance yourself there. And then what I'm gonna have you do is put that second toe again right through the center. Perfect. And then second toe through the center. So what the A lines are geared to do here is obviously it's supposed to balance her They don't always balance. So I can manipulate that. So now that we put her on here, and now what we're looking at, it comes a little bit closer center. Can you bend your knees just a little bit? Okay. So she's outside here, not too bad. It takes a little bit of pressure off of the inside. So what I would do in her case is I'm able to lift your heel just a little bit and then bring it back down and then bend again for me. So now I've drawn that knee or that line even closer into the center here. Okay. And so when she bends, she kind of, this knee falls in. Do you have any knee pain on the left? So so there you go. So when she bends, yeah, she's falling in a little bit. So I knew there's something going on with the left there. But as I go through this process with her foot, what I'm doing is I'm now centering this line as close as I can. I'm drawing the inside of the ankle off the bar. So you can go ahead and step down. And so what I would do with her in this case is on the back side of these, on the left side and the medial, I can put a clip in here and I can raise that up. So I can control whether it's up on the inside or the outside to what that knee and to keep her perfectly lined. So now when you stick these in the shoes and you're walking around, your foot's not going to fall in and pronate, creating that tension on the knee, on the hip. And that I see a lot of patients like I've got chronic low back pain. I don't know why. So this is just another tool that we can use in our office to try to help keep patients perfectly in line and biomechanics can work better. So just wanted to demonstrate that really quick. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah, you can hand them out. You guys are free to come up here and grab it. I mean, there's water bottles, there's koozies, I've got a brochure, there's cards, there's pens. Take what you want. You don't have to take anything, but I just wanted to bring you guys some stuff for some information. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate.
Thank you. Okay, you're not done yet. You have to pull. Here we go. We have a rotabuck.
All right, who's gonna win?
Thank you. Okay, so the payout today is $10. The jackpot is going to be 314. So. Okay, thank you. The number is 681229. 229. Okay. Dr. Getz. Okay, there's that. And as you can see, it's in there. Nope, not today. Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Gala meeting as we leave. Any other comments, questions, anything for today? Okay, call it a day. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.